Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, today we're here with Coach Little Z23, or better known as Brett Zandis. I think you guys have kind of heard a little bit about him through the different videos that you've seen and stuff, but just to reiterate, he is just someone that's so caring and so helpful to everyone. He's a family member, he's a son, a father, a friend, business owner, coach. What he does is amazing, and he can help each and every one of us with his systems that he's talked about. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you shovel dog crap. It doesn't matter. What he does is beneficial to everyone, and I think that you'll find that out more as we talk about entrepreneurs today. To give a great story, he went into business, so he didn't have to do this. He was already making good money and supporting and gonna take leaps and bounds on what he wanted to do. But his two sons came up to him and said, "Hey, we want to do what you want to do. We want to be an entrepreneur." She said, "Okay." So he went in and picked the worst, crappiest job, I think, or business that you could choose, which was the thrift store. And he didn't just make us work it, he worked with us doing that. So from 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, he was down there getting dirty, sweaty, nasty, gross. At 50 years old, it was, it's crazy to think that he was doing that, but it just shows you the type of person that he is, because, he's not just a talking person, he's going to walk the walk with you as well. So everything that he says, it isn't BS lip service, it's the truth, and it's what he really believes in. So I think that, you guys are really going to see that through these videos and stuff, and I hope that you guys appreciate it as much as, I do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So, today we're going to talk about entrepreneurs and what it means to be an entrepreneur and the different things that come with that. Is there anything that you would like to say before we get into that?
Well, I'm selling shovels, so for those of you that are shoveling dog crap out there, as an entrepreneurial mind, I have shovels for sale.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Perfect. You can find that at CoachLittleZ.com. CoachLittleZ23.com.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Shovels are for sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the first category I wanted to talk about are what I call wanted needs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, what is something that you think every entrepreneur should have, like, coming into a skill set? As a skill set to be an entrepreneur, what is something they should have?
Well, everybody would tell you something different on that, but to me, I think you need to be caring. You need to be thoughtful. You need to take ownership. I believe that troubleshooting is a big thing when it comes to being an entrepreneur or business owner or CEO or whatever, because there's a lot of trouble out there, right? And so, let's say you were kind of the inventor entrepreneur. You find trouble and you figure out how to resolve that issue, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're a business entrepreneur and you're running a business. There's going to be troubles in there, and how are you going to resolve those issues? I also think the flip side of that too, which I think is a lot of times we neglect as business people or entrepreneurs or whatever, is what about the great things?
Mm-hmm.
What about being a good finder, and how will you celebrate that?
Right.
Yeah. And so we're always talking about troubleshooting, which is the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I think that we can also always flip the script and say, what are the good things and how are we celebrating that?
Yeah.
I have an individual system, and the fifth component of that, so to speak, talks about that.
Yeah.
So we have likes, dislikes, and undecideds. So when you like something, how are you celebrating?
Yeah.
And I think most people in life, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, I don't think people celebrate the good things that they do. And there's a lot of things that are good going on in a day.
Right.
Count sometimes. I've done it before. Count the good things that you've done in a day, whether the good things for yourself, like working out or cardio or different things of that nature, or whether you've done good things for others or whatever. And you'll be surprised it gets into the hundreds pretty quick.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being an entrepreneur and meeting up with another entrepreneur, what are some needs that need to happen to meet up with them, right? Like, what's something that you need? That you need.
Well, I don't think there's needs. I think that there's hopefuls, meaning, so I think you guys need to be kind of like-minded.
Okay.
Not personality-wise.
Okay.
Right? Because opposites usually attract. A's attract to B's, wacko crazies, whatever,
Yeah.
detailed-oriented whatevers are more, attracted to the dreamer and the whatever. So not in the form of that, but like some commonalities of why are you doing this?
Okay.
So if Joe's doing it for money and you're doing it to help youth, and that's their primary and your primary, not that it won't fit together,
Yeah.
but it may not be peanut butter and jelly. It may be peanut butter and honey, which is still good, right? Maybe
Yeah.
better than jelly.
Yeah.
But other times it could be peanut butter and whipped cream, and you're like, yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound good, but sometimes when you put those things together, it still works out.
Right.
I had a buddy who, on white bread, we used to go over to his house. We would ditch school. Not really, Mom. As a school teacher, I'm telling, ditching
Yeah.
school. In high school, and we'd go over to his folks' house, and they had white bread
Okay.
and whipped cream. And yeah,
That sounds
it
weird.
sounds nasty,
Yeah.
right? And we put it on there, but it actually tastes pretty good.
Tastes pretty good.
Of course, I guess with whipped cream,
Yeah. It's,
we need a sponsor, Cool Whip. Just kidding. But with whipped cream, I guess anything can go good. But you wouldn't think that would go together well, but it was actually better than what you thought. Or I don't know if do you do tuna at all?
I don't.
Okay, well, tuna and mustard, like that grosses me out to think about it. But a lot of people swear by tuna and mustard
Yeah.
versus tuna and mayonnaise.
Uh huh.
So just because it seems like it won't go, sometimes those are the best fits, believe it or not.
Believe it or not. Right. Gotcha. And I know you brought up your individual system.
Yeah.
So what is needed of the mindset to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same that's needed for anything.
Okay.
Right. Number one, under mindset, you must take ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Into conversation.
Yeah.
If you take ownership, the monkey hook to that
Yeah.
is you're going to be thoughtful.
Okay.
And if you take ownership and you're thoughtful, and especially if you're thoughtful around others, not yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to probably be pretty darn successful. Right.
Got it.
I call myself a caption looker.
Okay.
And so I walk around and I look at the caption for you. I look at the caption for the audience. What is it that if they were watching this video as an entrepreneur, what are some things, hopefully a bunch of things, 10, 20, 30, 50 things that I might be able to express to them that will add value to them, that will help them, that will support them in their journey of being an entrepreneur, because it's not always easy.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at somebody else, so if I've taken ownership of helping this person or you or whoever, myself, if I'm being thoughtful around that, I'm not a selfish, what I call donkey, right? And I care about others, and I look at their caption and how might I be able to help them. I've got probably 80+% of it down pretty good.
Yeah.
As far as mindset goes. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a dad, whether you're a cousin, a friend, a employee, whatever, if you do that, you're probably in pretty good shape.
Pretty good shape. Yeah. Yeah. Very true. When it comes to being, or how about when it comes to learning
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, what I know the saying, you have two ears and one mouth, right?
Yeah.
So
I wish you could tell my kids that. And my wife.
yeah.
Not you, Susan.
Who do you think it's best to emulate or learn from starting out? As a starting out entrepreneur.
I think, you're going to look at your mom and dad. You're going to look at your grandma and your grandpa, your nana, your papu, your papa, your auntie,
Yeah.
So, let's look at who we are, right? Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
So, you right now,
Yeah.
me right now, the audience right now is a collection of genetics / DNA.
Yeah.
Their environmental conditioning, which is, I think, what we're going to get into more in a minute.
Yeah.
Right? And then there is, if you're lucky, you have a God lens. God smacks you somewhere.
Yeah.
And you get that lens. And then you have these experiences, throughout.
Yeah.
And then you have circumstances. And to me, people go, what's the difference between a circumstance and an experience? And I say, well, a circumstance doesn't always have to be negative, but I usually use one. If your child got ran over by a drunk driver, that's a circumstance.
Yeah.
And you're going to turn that into something.
Right.
Versus, let's say, if your dad was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
that would be an experience that you're reliving over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so when you take a look at that, that's what we're a collection of, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes.
The second part is we're a collection of habits, rituals, customs, processes, procedures, and I could go on and name 20 other words, but I call
Yeah.
those things systems.
Right.
So then the question becomes, as an entrepreneur or a mom or a dad or whatever, are you doing those things based off of tradition, or are you doing those based off of choice?
Yeah.
And either direction, they can go good, bad, or somewhere in between. So let's talk about that. So I'm guessing before you get in the shower, you take your clothes off. Is that right?
No, I like to shower with my clothes on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
No, I take them off. Yes, absolutely.
Well, he's not looking for a lady anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was a traditional habit that most people do.
Yes.
Right. That's just the way that they roll out, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
In that case, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Right. The old saying about, the little gal that asked her mom, why did they cut the back part of the ham?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tradition that doesn't make sense because you're wasting ham.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's all of these traditions that we do that make sense, but there's some things we do that don't make sense, and yet we're not making the choice to change those. We have a choice.
Yeah.
The tail doesn't wag the dog,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The dog should wag the tail,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that with systems and with these habits and customs, do we want to change our systems, our thoughts, our beliefs around processes, procedures, habits, and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's what I bring to the table more than anything, because I'm very systemic in everything that I do.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense. And I think you've touched on this a little before. You break down people into quadrants. There's 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and 4. And could you describe each one real quick, and then I'll ask you the question?
Yeah, so to me, quadrant 1 people are low motivation, and low talent.
Got it.
Quadrant 2, highly motivated but low talent.
Mm-hmm.
Quadrant 3, Quadrant 3 people that will drive you crazy in business as an entrepreneur. If you're that person, if you know people like that, they're the toughest. And those are the people that are low motivation but high talent.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And especially as a former coach,
Right.
you see so much in them, and you're like, God, if you could just, get motivated.
You're right.
And then you have quadrant 4, I call it the rare unicorn, they're both highly motivated and highly talented. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so my question is, do you think that you can learn something from each and every one of them when they're talking, as they talk to you?
Of course. You can learn from anybody all the time.
Right.
You have to have a learner's mentality. So I'm a teacher,
Yeah.
but I'm a learner first.
Right.
So I was a pretty good basketball coach, and I had a system. It took me 8 years from the time we got off the bus, and that's everybody, including our manager, our scorekeeper, you name it, everybody. We had a system that we ran. Our offense went to our defense went into our break went into our press after a made bucket, our side inbounds went into our offense went back, so it was cyclical, right?
Yeah.
And so it took me 8 years to get it down to a science where everything in basketball would be able to come together as one. So my son was, I think, 3 or 4. It kind of looked like you, actually.
Okay.
A little shorter hair,
Sure,
but
yeah.
I won't get into that. But anyway, he was playing basketball for the first time, and this is just a little YMCA league, just fun, whatever. And so, I was a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
I could have been like, I pretty much know what I know, and it is what it is. But I wasn't that way. I'm a learner.
Yeah.
So he was just doing a simple give and go drill. This guy didn't know anything about basketball. I swear he didn't. Somebody's dad, right?
Yeah.
Probably never played basketball in his life, but he went on YouTube and researched give and go or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I can incorporate that right specifically here within my offense. And that one little thing probably won us, an extra 3 games a year. Now, if I didn't have a learner's mentality,
Yeah.
right, I'm all that and a bag of rocks, as my mom says, and a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't even be paying attention to to grab that. And so I look at it and say, to be a learner, it didn't just help me, but it helped my kids, and it helped their mentality, right? They used to walk around, when you're undefeated, when you're
Yeah.
59-2, when you're, right, it gives you a little talk to your walk or some pep to your step.
Yeah.
And all of that is mindset.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Yeah.
And so, the question of do you think you can learn is a silly question. Of course you can. So what do you think hinders people from learning?
I think a lot of people are cocky,
Cocky.
right?
Yeah.
I could have been,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, if you're Coach K out there,
Yeah.
you've been pretty successful, right? If you're some of these other guys, I mean, I use sports and Bible as example.
Yeah.
That's what I know the best.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, you can be extremely cocky, like, well, I know it all. Look at Nick Saban. He wins a national championship last night.
Mm-hmm.
He had to redo his whole offensive scheme, right? He was handing the
Absolutely.
ball off to the Derrick Henrys of the world, and he still has those, by the way. Those guys
Yeah,
are
exactly.
amazing, right? But he's now hosing the ball all over, too.
500 yards.
That-
I mean,
yeah. I mean, he would have never have done that and scored 50-something points.
Yeah.
But he's a smart guy. He's
Yeah.
a learner. So he said, what do I need to do differently to make sure that works? Well, as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you don't have a choice.
Right.
If you don't learn and you don't change and adapt and whatever, you will be left behind.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
absolutely. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. As we move forward into the creative side of being an entrepreneur, my first question is, do you think creativity looks a specific way, or do you think it's open up more now? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because I used to think creativity was like, you had to be in the arts, right? You would draw, you would paint, you would dance, you would sing, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never have guessed that I was a creative dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super creative. I'm creative with the ads that I do. So I have a company that's called Global Freedom Insurance Solutions, Inc.
Yeah.
And so I came up with the little slogan of GFI, right? Global Freedom Insurance.
Yeah.
GFI were to go to bed at 8 or a decent hour.
Yeah.
I would get better rest. I'd wake up a little bit more rejuvenated.
Right.
Or I would have the potential for losing an extra pound, right? Gee, if I were to kiss my wife more, she'd probably run the other direction.
Yeah.
Right? GFI. Now, is that ultra creative? Like, oh my gosh,
Right.
you're the most creative guy. No. But in the same breath, in 8th grade, or is actually 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I was the intramural captain, right, of my team.
Yeah.
Well, we ran plays, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't say, like, go to the third tree on the left side of the fourth piece of, grass over there and
Yeah.
I'll throw you the ball. I was like, this is your playbook, dude. Right? Where'd I learn that from? My mom, she's a school teacher. She did lesson plans. Her lesson plans were to teach people to add and subtract and English language arts and blah. My lesson plans were sports.
Right.
So you have to be creative to make those plays. I mean, I don't know if you remember last year in the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs, I think it was in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs did that little weird thing and then they...
Oh, yeah.
That's creative.
Right.
Right? Now, we talk about it. Did they just create that out of their head? No. I think Andy Reid was going back and looking at old school footage, like from the 30s, and they saw that play. But either way, he was creative enough.
Right.
And think about the success that dudes have.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl again.
Again, yeah. I mean, but
Yeah.
either way, I mean, you're a world champion.
Yeah.
Well, how much higher do you want to go than that?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't think there is.
Exactly.
When it comes to being creative, what is your process?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, because I think a lot of times people, they'll say, oh, I just do this or whatever. I have a system, shocker, the systems matter guy, right? Yeah. With a Z, by the way, that's my last name, Zandis. But yeah, so, if you take a look at that, I call it the brainstorming or the mind dump.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I just, everything that, on that particular topic that I can think of. So let's say I was thinking about opening a new business, right? I'm an entrepreneur and I have an idea of a new business. So I'm going to brainstorm or mind dump just everything I can think of, right? Yeah. And a lot of the stuff will make sense, and some of it will be like, you're going to wear golden halo on Tuesday? But you just get it out, right? No matter what it is, you just mind dump, right? Yep. Then you go to column 2, and what you do is you start to categorize.
Okay.
So let's say some of the things you said was, well, I'm going to need a salesperson, I'm going to need a secretary, I'm going to need a CPA, I'm going to need whatever, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm creating this business. So then you formulate that in column 2. It's a people column.
Yeah.
Or a personnel, column.
Okay.
Whatever. Or let's say you're talking about where it's, I got to get some paper, I got to get a computer, I got to get, a microphone, I got to get, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's equipment or supplies.
Mhm.
But either way, you categorize that. And then from there, you go to column 3 and you take them individually, each over the new category, and you brainstorm the same way you did in column 1. Just dump everything you can think about in there.
In there.
So when you do that, that'll get the creative juices to start.
Right.
So let's say you get stuck though,
Yeah.
right? So there's writer's block or, whatever.
Yeah.
Happens to me every second, it seems like. Because I'm putting systems together and how does this work? It's got to go in 5, it's got to go in 3, whatever. And so, you know how they say a lot of times your best work's done in the shower?
Yeah.
That's proven scientifically why that is. I don't remember all the exacts on it.
Yeah.
But, you're relaxed, you got warm on you, different things like that.
Yeah.
Taking a walk, to rejuvenate. Sometimes you got to step away to be able to step forward.
Right.
Because, you get in that writer's block and you're not able to do that. And I think it's the same with all entrepreneurs out there, that sometimes you just get into a little bit of a rut on an idea or on trying to figure out the next idea.
Yeah.
So I always say, go for a walk, go out in nature, go get something hot on you, a sauna or a bath or a hot shower or, something like that. Get out in nature, do that, just stop, go watch, your favorite movie, go and sing, go do something silly, whatever. And remember, your subconscious is way more powerful than your conscious.
Yeah.
And it's working on stuff all the time.
Right.
Right. Talk about mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's subconscious. It's working all the time.
Yeah.
And it's usually working towards your favor. That's why I say you have to get good sleep at night, because you don't get into that REM sleep. Your mind that's trying to sort and do all these different things is really not able to function like that.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
By the way, on a quick side note, do you know the difference? They did a study one time where sleep deprivation and drinking alcohol.
Yes.
Who would, and they were driving a simulator.
Yes.
Sleep deprived people were way worse off than the people that were drinking.
Drinking, which is crazy.
Is that crazy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you always hear about the DUI that ended in sadly a fatality or something like that. You never hear about the sleep deprivation ones, because they probably don't really happen because you're smart enough to say, hey, I can't drive right now, versus after you've been drinking.
And I don't know if I agree with that. I think there's a lot of people where they just don't know, and it was an accident, right? I mean, have you ever driven and almost went to sleep before?
Yes.
And you're a smart guy.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think that we all think we can do things. I've done it before.
Yeah.
It's scary, man. And so I think that, and that's the thing. You can go below a 0.08, and that's over the legal limit. But you can't go below the fact that you were only 4 hours asleep the night before, or 4 nights in a row, or
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So,
don't mean to disagree with the boss over here, but I think it is different in regards to, sometimes what we think is really bad. There's other things that are a lot worse.
Yeah. So when it comes to being creative, do you think that is something? And I know, I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways because you like to say gray and different things like that. But do you think it's taught or you're born with it?
Being creative?
Yeah.
I think it can be a both and, right? I mean, I think that I gave you some science on how to be creative with brainstorming or the mind dump. I call it there's the science, the robotic version, right? And then there's the art form on it. Right, or what I call the talent level.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, of course, some people can look at that rock and turn it into a statue.
Right.
That's pretty dang creative.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if that was Michelangelo or Van Gogh or, the Van Brothers, whatever. Yeah. But so I think people have a propensity to be able to say that 3 times fast, propensity.
I don't even think I can spell it.
You can't say it once.
Yeah.
I'll be like... But anyway, I think that, they can do that, or they can look at that like, what about these doggone tattoo artists that they take, lips of Jerry, and Jerry, the woman's no longer with Jerry, and so they turn it into some, freaking forest that's creative, dude.
Yeah.
So I think it's a both and. I think people are born with certain talents, whether it be in sport, whether it be in creativity, whether it be, in having more empathy or sympathy. But I think it's a cop-out for people to say, well, I wasn't born that way. Well, get over it and go work on it. Go practice.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I want to ask this, but I'll do the best I can. How do you think people express themselves creatively?
Propensity.
Yeah. How do you think they express themselves in an entrepreneur way? Because I think that obviously there's people that are artists that become entrepreneurs. How do they, express themselves, or vice versa, people that are sports people and have no clue how to be an artist or whatever, but still have to express themselves creatively?
Well, if you're coming to this channel, we're not the sharpest tool in the shed, but we care about you and we'll work hard, right? Well, look, I think it's a two-part question, and so in the end, I think that we're all creative in our own, genre of the talent that was God-given to us, right? And so whatever that may be, the question to me that's way more important: what are you going to do with it? Right. So I'm not the most talented guy. I'm not. I wasn't. I will never be. But I have some talented things that I do.
Yeah.
I'm able to troubleshoot in a moment like this. Right.
Yeah.
And isn't that what a coach has to do?
Yes.
Right. And so I think I had some natural talents to be able to read the situation, both with art and with science, and be able to dissect it really quickly, make a new play, and say, we're going to go this direction.
Right.
Right? And if you give me some time, I'm going to be real deadly with it.
Yeah.
So we had a gal, she wound up playing the WNBA, and when I was coaching, I did a little bit of scouting, not a lot. I mean, it was 8th grade girls basketball, but I was competitive. I wanted to win, and I wanted to give my girls the best chance to succeed.
Yes.
So anyway, I watched this girl, and she's a professional player.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I watched her. Nobody else on her team could do anything, but she'd score like 35, 40, 45 a game. And if anybody knows anything about 8th grade girls basketball, if you score 30, you've probably won. Yeah. And she could do that by herself.
Yeah, which is...
Yeah, it's just crazy. Well, and like I said, she played the WNBA for a while. Yeah. Yeah. And I think she's a pretty high-level coach now, too. Hey, Nikki. How you doing? And so anyway, this was the county championship game. We had a good team. Not a great team, but a good team. Yeah. And so I got my my soccer player gal, who wasn't great at basketball, but she was in shape because she played soccer. Yeah. And she'd do whatever I told her to do. Yeah. Like, right? And so we diamond and won this gal. And and it was one of those things as a coach, as all the coaches know, normally you'll say, this is how it's going to go down. Doesn't always go down that way. Yeah. This went down exactly to a T the way I said it would. I said, so we're going to, we're going to diamond and won her, and we're going to wear her down, number one, with Ariana, who was, going to follow her wherever. Yeah. And I said, number two, we'll double team off of that because, she's still going to score about 10 or 12, 14, 18 points. Yeah. And so at halftime, I said, we'll be up about 22 to 18. But I said, after that, at the rest of it, we're going to win about 40 to 22 because she's going to be so doggone tired, she won't even be able to lift her arms up. And I said, we'll start triple teaming her. Because I knew that when she would throw the passes to her other teammates, they couldn't even catch the ball. Right. Yeah. So sure enough, I mean, exactly like the way that I said it. Right? Yeah. And so, there was some creativity there to be able to know, but there was also some experience, a box and one or diamond and one in this case, and to be able to call those things. And so in the end, when you take a look at that, if the other coach was as experienced and as skilled, both art and science, of where I was at, she would have known how to run her off screens and stuff. And she would also maybe prepared her other kids, because I don't care how many screens you run off. If you're getting triple team, you're gonna have to give it up to somebody.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even catch the ball because she would, throw it too hard, or whatever
it was. Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so, I guess the question is, with being an entrepreneur, how important is being creative? Creative. There you go. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it is important, but there's a lot of, let's say, entrepreneurs that aren't super creative, but they can just follow what the next guy did almost to a T, and that's okay too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how many detergents are out there, but I'm guessing, like, to clean your clothes.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah.
And not every one of those were creative enough to go, back in whatever 1400s or 1500s or whatever. I'm not a history connoisseur, but people stink, and it's because they're wearing the same clothes all the time. You might want to get this thing called soap or detergent and do whatever.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people that can take what was already done with detergent and just go, okay, here's the step by step. Because my buddy Joe, who's now my neighbor, who's retired, used to work for him, he told me the step by step. Well, you don't have to be super creative. It was like paint by numbers. Do you remember that when you were a kid? Right? Paint yellow in the ones, paint, Right. And that's okay too. So you don't have to be super creative.
Right.
So you have the person over here that does all this amazing artwork.
Yeah.
Then you have the paint by numbers guy. Still looks pretty darn good.
Right, absolutely. Gotcha. And so as we move on to the third topic, which is ideological ideas.
Say what?
Yeah.
You can say ideological ideas, but we can't say creativity?
Yeah, correct.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
What does that mean to you? What does an ideological idea mean? There you go, yeah.
Say that 3 times fast after you've had a few, right? That's water and Propel, by the way. So ask the question again.
Yeah. What does ideological ideas mean to you when that's, is brought up?
Yeah, so for me it means something very specific within a system, a company system that I have. So I have a company system, I have an individual system, I have a team system, I have systems within systems, I have processes, I have cycles, I have formulas, I have, right? Just like people have habits and customs and ritual,
Yeah.
But I've developed these systems so people can easily plug into. So if you want to be the paint by number guy, here you go.
Right.
And it'll look really good and nice and all that. If you want to be the creative guy, then you can go over there.
Yeah.
So for me, when I hear about ideological ideas or something along those lines, we put that under the category of creating a culture of excellence.
Okay.
Underneath the creating a culture of excellence, we have that's the title.
Yeah.
We have several sections.
Okay.
So we have setting standards, which are basically our goals.
Got it.
We have objectives, which is basically the activities to get to the goals. We have ideological, right, which is our horizon statement and our mission there,
Yeah.
We have philosophical psychologies, which includes, right? So all of these things for me, in general, if I was talking to an entrepreneur, really is mindset.
Right.
But for a company, if you're going to grow, because you can be an entrepreneur without running a business.
Right.
You can be an entrepreneur by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to have others. But as you get more people involved, just like the language of a football team, right? If I say the formation, those long-winded formations, and call the play, if we're not all on the same page, and what you thought I did was to call a run and I called the pass, we're in trouble.
Right.
So A1 to the right means nothing to you.
Yeah.
But when I was coaching football at a low level, A1 was our formation.
Yeah.
Right. And then we would say like A1 student body right, which the student body was the play.
Yeah.
And then right was which way you were going to go with it.
Yeah.
So then everybody could get focused on the same page.
Right.
So that kind of language for me means something a lot more specific than it may mean for somebody who's not part of the system or hasn't learned the system that I created.
Got it. That makes sense. And so for that, what is your process? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you break it down?
As far as like mindset stuff,
Or no, sorry, for the ideas of your ideological ideas. What's the process for you?
same thing. I go
Same.
right back to brainstorming or mind dumping, and we went like that. I'll give you a great story. So, our first company is called Consult for Kids. And so we had built one of the better after-school programs in the state and the nation in our district when I was a school teacher.
Yeah.
And so they were sending us all over the state because we didn't do it by just who we were. We did it by systems.
Okay.
So if you look at the Patriots, I'm not a big fan, by the way, but I'm a big fan of your success. They have systems in place because they've plugged in a lot of different people and it's worked for them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, some people that were struggling elsewhere. And this was just the way they go. And so you have to respect that,
Yeah.
system based. So as we were going out, we started thinking, actually what happened was, so I'd go train, let's say 1,000 people on January 1.
Okay.
And the attrition rate was so high that when I would come back in March and do another, 8-hour training with them, 50, 60, 70% of them were gone. So that's when we were like, well, we're problem solvers. How, what are we going to do here?
Yeah.
So that's why we created a library of 400 videos that would solve any problem that you had if you were a youth worker, or what we call champions of youth.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the what we decided, and that was the system. So anyway, that kind of backing up.
Yeah.
So we're driving home from one of the places they sent us out to, and we're like, hey, we may be, getting into our own business here with these, this video library and courses and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we just started being thoughtful. We just started doing the process. We started brainstorming, and we said, okay, what's our bottom line here?
Yeah.
Kids. We want to help and support kids.
Right.
So we're like, well, probably we should put kids in there into the the title of the company title. So then we said, well, what are we doing with them? Well, we're teaching them, we're educating them, we're training them, we're right?
Right.
And we said, yeah, but we're really working with the adults now. So, adults and kids, what are we doing? Training and adults, So we worked it out to where it was like consult.
Right.
We're consulting the adults who work with the kids, and kind of the play on the C and the K work together.
Right.
Kind of that sound.
Yeah.
Consult for kids.
Yes.
Well, the for part of it, we had to play around with it some more. It took us an hour to do this whole thing.
Yeah.
And so we got consult and kids, and we said, but okay, so what are we doing? And then we said for.
Yeah.
And so, then we're so creative
Yeah.
that we said instead of FOR, we would do the number 4.
Right.
Consult for kids. So it really worked into, our ideological mantra, whatever you want to call it, that mindset piece. And then we'd already had the tagline, which we said we wanted to level the playing field because the district that we were working in was a low socioeconomic area.
Yeah.
And they didn't have some of the luxuries that maybe some of the middle class or the upper class had. Yeah, and so we said we wanted to level the playing field.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so you brought up, talking and, it took you an hour to, figure out this idea.
Yeah.
When and how many people, so when would you go and talk to people about this idea, and how many people do you trust to talk to about it, right? I mean, it's not like you just trust anyone walking down the street. You have a select group that you trust. Is that true?
Yeah, so what I do is I'm very anal and aware about time.
Okay.
Because that's one thing that we share in common, right?
Yeah.
We all have 24 hours in a day. So I don't want to get 10 people involved because that's time intensive if it may be squashed out before it even would need to go there.
Got it. Okay.
So what I do is I've created a culture of excellence within the system. Within the system, I have preliminary remarks to get started. And underneath that, I have what I call course charting.
Okay.
And that's broken down into thoughts, thinking, and ideas. So that's where the brainstorm, brain dump, and all of that.
Yes.
And so I do all of that.
Okay.
Okay. And it may take me 3 minutes in the shower. It may take me 3 hours just really going at it.
Yes.
Just depends how big the whatever it is.
Okay.
So as an entrepreneur, this is a good little system for you.
Yeah.
So then what you do is you go, okay, I've got to make a choice now. Does it make sense to continue to move forward, or did I just waste 3 minutes of my shower time? Right?
Yeah.
And I always try to do it like, when I'm taking a dump or when I'm taking, double dip, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nothing else I'm doing anyway. I'm not going to just sit there and sing. I'm not that guy, right?
Right, absolutely.
So I'll whistle every now and then. Whistle while you work. Anyway, and so I call that course charting. Then I go into what I call obvious outlining. So I'll take whatever I did in that course charting, the mind dump, the brainstorm, thoughts, thinking, all that.
Yes.
And then I'll say, okay, I'm going to outline that and to figure out what's needed to make that particular thing come to fruition.
Right.
So is it a business? Is it an entrepreneurial idea? Is it just, talking about the next, advertising campaign? Is it whatever it is, right?
Yes.
So then at that point, I start to get one person involved just to see if I'm crazy or not.
Okay.
So I'll go and talk to whoever. I have 5 people within my inner circle. I got 2 kids. I got my wife. I got my mom. Got some business partners. And there's a few others that I'll talk to, but those are the primary.
Got it.
And I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? And sometimes they're like, you're an idiot, and stop it, and don't, no. And I'm like, okay, I only wasted 7 minutes.
Yes.
Other times they're like, I don't know, that sounds good. Have you thought about, then they'll start adding to the party.
Right.
Once I make a determination, there's another choice after that, the obvious outlining, and I say, hey, I'm going to go into prototyping.
Okay.
What I call prototype packaging.
Yes.
So then, usually I'll hand that off to somebody, and I'll be like, hey, this is where we're going, go make it happen. So if it's lesson plans, so we did lesson plans around sports cards. I thought, man, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
The sports cards, if you guys could look around my room, I got a big, actually several rooms full of sports stuff everywhere. But, I thought that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Is to, kids like me, I didn't want to do math and English.
Yeah.
Only reason I even went to school so I could play sports. Right. But man, if I could have a sports card and I could have learned and add, subtract, multiply, divide, all those statistics, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did something like that. And so they prototyped it out and packaged it. And then from there, we go into different things to where we, get it critiqued and different things of that nature.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the, quick down and dirty process of what we do. Informally can be really quick, or very formal if it's a, much bigger situation.
Yeah, gotcha. And so, you brought up the word prototyping.
Yeah.
What is your rule of thumb when it comes to, okay, now we're going to prototype this, or now we're going to make a prototype of this?
If it goes through those processes, and then the other thing I would add, so I chart the course myself usually. Yeah. But I may brainstorm with some others in there. We'll see. Mm-hmm. I make a decision to start outlining. Yeah. Right, and then choice. I add more people to the party right there, and so usually if everything's like on go, and the doors are opening, then I know it's time to prototype it. And we've done things that have been prototyped that we never even put to market.
Just because it didn't make sense at that point?
In the end, yeah, so, but we have a process to where most of the time it's going to make sense. If we go from 1 to 2 to 3, which is what it is, if it gets to 3, it's probably going to go to market. Or, other times we've done 1, 2, 3, and it didn't go to market when we thought, but it went to market 5 months later, 7 months. Yeah. Or, a COVID situation. Well, that product doesn't make sense anymore. Right. Or, different things like that. Yeah. So, but usually if you follow the system, it's going to work out.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so, I think there's a story that you had mentioned before where you went out with a friend to, I think it was Ventura, and you had an idea and you wanted to get a prototype, but it was $2,500, and back in the day, a lot of money, especially when you were a full-time student, full-time track athlete, all that different thing. Yeah. What is your advice for someone who is in the same position to get the funds they need to push forward their prototype?
Well, first of all, entrepreneur land, I think that funding is a bunch of bull. I think that people say I have to have money to make money. It's a bunch of crap. I don't agree with that at all. But I think there's different things that you can want to do, right? So one of the things is you can just sell the idea off. Yeah. Right? I'm going to get a one-time payment. Boom, I'm done. If they go turn it into $100 million, then great. Another thing you can do is you can go sell it and still get some of the rights to it, right? Yeah. So you're going to get a chunk of money, but you're also going to get, a percentage. Other things you can do is you can say, hey, I'm going to pitch the idea. I don't want to deal with it, but I'm just going to get a percentage of the company. Right. So that's all like external type whatever.
Got it.
But you can also do that with your internals. Like I've done that with employees before. I'm like, hey, you're really good. I got this idea. I want to be a 50-50 partner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna support and help you with this, and this. But I am not gonna do the day-to-day or whatever.
Right.
So I think there's multiple variations of what you're wanting to do with that. And so just know that there's a lot of options out there. But one of them is not a money excuse.
Got it.
I always, I think there's been a couple guys, I think recently, like on YouTube or wherever,
Yeah.
where they've, turned in like their shirt into like bartering.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
turned into a Lamborghini. But they've also done that with money,
Right.
right? And so I tell everybody, I can help you to make $1,000 to $10,000 in less than a couple weeks, and that's everybody or anybody,
Yeah.
even if you're homeless. And people are like, "Yeah, right." And I said, "Well, let's bet.
Yeah.
Let's bet,
Yeah.
right?" And so, because I think there's a lot of people out there that like to help folks,
Right.
and so if you were homeless and you didn't smell too good and whatever, but you're asking me for a favor, not for money. Don't ask me for money.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me for a favor or you're asking me, can I go do something?
Yeah.
As an example, the people that come up to me and say, hey, will you I said, get the step. Don't even come talk to me. And then I educate them in the nicest way possible. Like, you don't just walk up to people and ask them for money. You don't do that. But then I've had a guy that comes to me with a bottle. I don't know what was in it, water,
Yeah.
Windex, whatever, and a
Yeah.
towel. And in an old Kmart parking lot, shows you how long it was. And he goes, hey, can I wash your windows on your car? So I gave him a $100 bill. And he goes, well, he was in tears, like, he was hurting. He
Yeah.
was basically homeless. And he says, well, which one's your car? I go, it doesn't matter. Just go wash a window out there. Just wash one car's window. It wasn't the fact that I needed my, my windows. It's the fact he's willing to work for it.
Right.
Or the people I've seen, like I'd get up early to go work out.
Yeah.
And I would see bums and homeless people that were diving in dumpsters and different trash cans and different things of that nature to go get aluminum cans, because there happened to be this workout place in this recycling thing was right there, and I could see they were getting it all together so that when they opened up at 7 o'clock or whatever,
They were first in line.
and so I go give them money, and they're like, what do you do? I said, you're working, dude.
Yeah.
I respect that, but people that just come and ask you for money, I don't respect that.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I believe this is the case because you've said this. The most important part when it comes to ideas or ideological ideas is the charting, right? The brainstorming. Is that true? Would you agree with that?
Well, I'd say the most important thing for anything is do it.
Do it.
Yeah. I would rather people just go fire, fire, fire versus ready, aim, or just ready, whatever. Now, that being said,
Yeah.
I do believe that if not everything, pretty darn close to everything happens in your mind first.
First, right.
And so, it's that old saying of the cart before the horse, the chicken before the egg. Who really knows?
Yeah.
Is it mindset that leads to this? Is it you doing this that leads to mindset? It's probably a combination of both. But in my mind, it's mindset, which would lead to doing something.
Right.
In the individual system, it is mindset, which leads to get organized around that mindset.
Right.
Solution showcases the do piece.
Yeah.
Collect the data.
Yep.
And then thoughtfully advance. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same process I go through, and an entrepreneur should go through, or anybody else, on a regular and consistent, informal and formal basis.
Got it. And so, was there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have, or something the audience should know about ideological ideas that we didn't cover?
No, I just think that again, a lot of people have this great mind.
Yeah.
They do nothing with it. So, take some action, do something. There's a lot of great movies and stories about that out there.
Yeah.
Where people are formulating some more. I mean, you were a track guy.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, spending months and months and months and on your marks, on your mark. Did they say marks or mark?
On your mark. On your marks.
On your marks?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody. Anyway, on your mark, on your mark, on your mark, on your mark, on your mark. You'd be like, dude, come on. At least say set.
Set, yeah.
Set, and you never
get the
click the gun, which forces you out.
out, right.
So what is your trigger or your gun that will force you out?
Got it. That makes sense. So now we're going to talk about trend capitalizers, or people that capitalize on trends.
Yeah.
And so the first question is, who is someone that, or what is a trend capitalizer, or a capitalizer trend capitalizer?
Yeah. Right. It's not a trend setter.
Yeah.
Well, it's people that capitalize on trends. They're, I kind of look at it like the wave, right? So the surfer is in the water, and they see this wave coming, but not everybody sees the big ones, right?
Right.
So if you look at like pro, surfing, these guys will jump on this wave and they get like a 4-second ride, and then the homie that said, I'm just chilling, while everybody else, he catches this amazing wave.
Right.
It rides it for, 52.9 seconds, and I don't know how they reward them or award them, but it's, they get the gold medal.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that it's people that can see those waves. And it's fine. Hey, if you see a little wave, jump on it.
Yeah.
Right? If you see a big wave, so waves would be like cash for gold. That was a wave.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's signs even now. People are still doing that and making money on it.
Right.
Right? Usually if you see a sign out for longer than 6 months or a year, either the sign, the business went out and it's just sitting there because nobody took it down, or it's probably working.
Right.
Right. And so I think that when you're looking at trends, just be creative. Just take a look. I'm able to capitalize on trends all the time.
Yeah.
What I like are the people that don't just look at the trend that's the mainstay right in your face. It's the one that's a little bit outside of it. Now, sometimes there's not as much money here.
Yeah.
But you were a little bit more creative in thinking about it, and maybe you would help more people this way.
Right.
Or maybe you would help a class of people that everybody else is forgetting about because they're just worried about this mainstay.
Right. Got it. And so how do you predict a trend?
I don't know. I don't predict nothing. I am not Nostradamus. I am not a crystal ball reader. But it's like I used to tell people about with God. They would say, well, he predestined people. I'm like, oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he predestined you to be a sinner? Yeah, he's I said, no, fool. I said, there's a difference between predestination and foreknowledge.
Right.
And so when I talk to them, they're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I go, let me ask you something. Do you know when your kid is getting ready to walk into the street, get hit by a car? Well, yeah. Did you predestine that?
Right.
Well, no. Right. And then they'd shut up.
Right.
Right. They're like, yeah, you had the foreknowledge based off of certain things that were happening along the way. So let's talk about one of the next big trends that's coming up. So voice. It's coming.
Yeah.
Now, will we all capitalize on it? I don't know, because I don't know. Sometimes, the first one is the best.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not. We talked about that before in a copycat. Maybe it's not the first to market, but it's the best to market.
Right.
Right? So we know voice or AI or different things of that nature.
Yeah.
We know it's coming.
Right.
Right? But how do we necessarily capitalize on it?
Yeah.
So, for me, they're talking about like the sports card market, right? That's a big deal. And so everybody's going to get sports cards everywhere. Well, I've been collecting for 35 years. I don't need sports cards, but I thought, well, what can I do to capitalize on that? Well, maybe it's the plastics. Maybe I want to create a plastics company, or maybe I want to create a holder, or maybe I want to whatever,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, leads me in for an entrepreneur, especially scarcity mentality. I'm not afraid to say that. If somebody else goes out and makes a plastic company because they heard this, good for you. Gotta get my 10%, right?
Yeah.
Right. But good for you. But I think just as a sidebar conversation, I think we're into this scarcity mentality. I've got to have it because you can't.
Yeah.
No, we can both have that company. There's about 10 million of them out there, I'm sure.
Gotcha. And so as a trend capitalizer, can entrepreneurs make a living in a good living just being a trend capitalizer, just jumping from trend to trend to trend, or no, do you think it eventually will run out?
No, it'll never run out.
Never run out.
Because there's always going to be derivatives of the mainstay.
Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't know who was, the first to do online sales, but it was a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But Amazon figured out how to be the best at it.
Yeah.
But now Walmart's coming,
Mm-hmm.
right? I saw an interview on the guy that does the e-commerce for Walmart,
Oh, uh-huh.
and he used to run several other Eat Smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a year later, I don't know the full thing, but later now they're coming to market,
Right.
right? And so I don't know. That's some heavyweights, man.
Yeah.
I watched Mike Tyson back in whatever day it was, who was unbeatable, get knocked the heck out.
Yeah.
So, you don't always have to be the trendsetter.
Yeah.
You can be the copycatter.
Yeah.
You can be, whatever. But I to me, it's a lot more exciting.
Right.
But I've done it both ways. I've built businesses from scratch.
Yeah.
And I've done products from scratch. And I've also bought into products or bought products from somebody
Yeah.
to sell, or different things of that nature. I've done it all different ways. So I think a lot of it depends on self-awareness, right? Know yourself.
Self. Yeah.
Yeah, know thyself is a big deal.
Gotcha. And so, the saying is everyone has 20/20 vision in hindsight, or
Yeah.
hindsight vision is 20/20.
Yeah.
Was there a trend that happened that you said, you know what, I should have jumped on that and I just didn't?
Oh, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, all the time. So, one of the things that was real popular back in the day were sports cards, like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And you referred to that story before. And so I decided that plastics,
Oh,
the
uh-huh.
plastic coverings, not for the cards that was already made, but for the action figures.
Right.
So I felt like that was going to be popular.
Yeah.
So, look at all the derivatives from knowing that information that I could have went for.
Yeah.
I could have went for the plastic market. I could have went and got direct connects to the action figure toy stores. I could have created my own toy, right? I mean, I could have went and hired, or buddied up with some comic book people. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So if you know that, and I knew that was going to hit. I knew action figures were going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know to this degree,
Yeah.
but I knew it was going to hit. So, back in the day when you're young and dumb and you're doing other things, which my eye was on coaching and all that.
Right.
I collected.
Yeah.
I should have been creating and innovating and all that, but
Yeah.
there's only so many hours in a day. I'm teaching 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm coaching another 4 or 5 hours a day. I got a wife. I think I still have a wife. I have kids of mine. So on and so forth. You can't do it all.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so now we're going to move into the last one, which I think will be the most interesting,
Yeah.
which is entrepreneur tendencies.
Mm.
So when it comes to an entrepreneur and they created this idea,
Mm-hmm.
or they thought of this idea, what happens, or why do you think they never move forward with it? That ready aim. What do you think happens?
I think a lot of it is, that whole fear thing, and fear either way.
Fear of success or fear of failure.
Right. So it used to be, what's the acronym? False evidence appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
But most people used to talk about only fear of failure.
Uh-huh. Right.
But a lot of people fear of success.
Yeah.
The light that people really have, the talent that they have, if they could unleash that. So like if you think about the Phoenix, whatever her name was, Jean Grey,
Yeah.
became the Phoenix.
Yeah.
When she finally just said, that's it.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Power beyond measure.
Right.
And I think that we as people are powerful beyond understanding.
Yeah.
And so whether that's a 1%, so they say most people use around 10% of their brain.
Yeah.
But what about if you used 11%?
Right.
That could be, leaps and bounds. As a track guy, difference between a tenth and a second or 100 seconds, difference between gold medal and an olive branch, or nothing at all.
Oh, yeah.
Could be worse than an olive branch.
Yeah,
You get
absolutely.
nothing. You get a handshake and a slap on the rear end, if that, right?
Yeah.
So when you take a look at that, I think that people are powerful beyond what they know, and I think that the fear of success is just too overwhelming. Or I call them the hurdles.
Yeah.
They have these hurdles that they can't get over, whether they're baby or whether they're big, whether they're universal hurdles, or whether they're specific to you. So, maybe somebody out there was molested, right? Were you molested as a kid?
No,
neither was I.
Right.
But that would be an individual hurdle for them. Or what about somebody whose dad was an alcoholic? Right? Was your dad an alcoholic?
No.
Right. Neither was my dad. Right. But my dad had problems. Your dad, he better not have had problems. Right.
Right.
Your dad was perfect. Correct.
Yeah, correct.
But you get the point. So there's these individual hurdles that we each have based off of the collection of who we are,
right.
based off of circumstances, experience, blah, blah, right?
Yes.
DNA, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side of that, which is just across the board. So I've been doing some research on, with some people, and we've been talking about, seek first to understand, right? Which I think is a Covey thing.
Yeah.
But people don't do that.
No.
I'll stop you right dab in the middle. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And I don't care if there's 500 people, 5,000. I mean, right? We have this thing in my house where they go, "Yes, Brett."
Yeah.
Right? And I'll say, "I don't understand. Tell me. Tell me like I'm a 2-year-old."
Right.
Right? And so you go through that process, and so there's certain things that are just universal like that people are afraid.
Yeah.
Afraid to stop them, or they think they know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
Right? You said a black shirt on Sunday. I'm like, no, I didn't, you idiot. I said a red tank top on Monday.
Yeah.
Right? Because communication, right? So I ask you something right now. So if we're talking,
yes,
I'm communicating with you. So the words flow from my heart up through my mouth, out of my brain, or up to my brain and out of my mouth. Where does it go next?
In the circumstance.
Yeah, because But
Yeah.
most people would say what?
Into my ears.
Right, they go into your ears. I said, no, it goes into circumstance first.
Yes.
Well, they say, well, what does that mean? Well, so if I said, hey, I'm going to have this luau, and it's going to be great. We're going to roast some pig, and da-da-da-da. And you're a vegetarian.
Right.
Or you're Jewish. You don't eat pig. That circumstance says that doesn't feel very good to you.
Right.
So I'm excited about something you can't get excited about.
Right.
So I think when you take a look at that and you say there's these universals and then there's these individual hurdles that people must get over.
Yeah.
That's why I love systems.
Yeah.
Because even if it's a Band-Aid, I don't love Band-Aids, but they work for a while.
Yeah.
The system will Band-Aid all of those things and you'll just go do. Right? The system says I've got a mindset, get organized, I got to go do.
Yeah.
I have to go do. So then if you're, analysis to paralysis and you won't get out there and do something, no, the system says I have to.
Right.
The system says I have to paint yellow 1s, blue 2s, red 3s. Right? Remember Granimals back in the day?
Yes.
Right? The system says I got to match the zebra with the zebra bottom, the shorts or whatever with the zebra top.
Yeah.
Simple. You just match the system.
Yeah.
And they went crazy because it took the brain work out of it.
Right. And so, I said everyone's capable of doing your systems.
Yes.
Right? Do you think everyone is capable of being an entrepreneur?
I think everybody's capable, but I want to make sure that we're clear that from a scientific standpoint, yes, you could follow steps, but there's varying degrees of the talent.
Got it. And
talent, I call it the art and the science, and you have to merge them.
Right.
So the scientific part, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a son who is not entrepreneurial at all, and yet he makes $300 to $500 a month on eBay.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have an entrepreneurial bone in his body.
Yeah.
Right? But I told him and taught him how do you find underpriced stuff. Here are the different places you can put it.
Yeah.
Package it up, be thoughtful. Send a picture of you, saying I'm packaging what, right?
Right.
Always think about the people first. Walk around being a caption looker. What does Nick want? What does Joe want? What does the audience want? And try to give that to them. So we're talking about entrepreneurial people primarily, or entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But is that also business owners? Yeah. Is it also potentially parents? Yeah, a lot of these things are universal truths that can go across no matter what genre you are.
Got it. And so, you talked about it a little bit, you're not scared of, giving an idea and people taking it. Why is that? Why are you not scared about that?
Because I wasn't raised with the scarcity mentality. I was raised with a plentiful mentality.
Yeah.
Right? It's not usually you have it and I don't.
Right.
We can both have it.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk about a race, you being a decathlete.
Yeah.
you can win a gold and I could not win.
Mm-hmm.
But what about 4 years later?
Right.
I can win the gold and you could not.
Yeah.
What about in the World Championships instead of the Olympics? What about in this meet? What about, right?
Yeah.
So very rarely, I mean, Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Him or Gates or, any of these other uber rich dudes.
Yeah.
There's not just one of them.
Right.
There's the Tesla guy. There's, Trump.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah. Oops. But, you get my point, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that can have a lot of different things. So it's just a mentality. I used to say, like, here's the circle. And then if you go right dab in the middle of that circle,
Yeah.
what's the difference between motivation and manipulation? Well, it's your mindset.
Got it.
Am I manipulating you to go to bed at this time, or am I motivating you to go to bed at this time?
Right.
I mean, right? They're brothers and sisters. They're if I turn my back and I turn the other way, they're right there together.
Right.
So you can either have a scarcity mentality or you can have a plentiful mentality. I choose plentiful because I don't want to just win and you lose.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to both win.
Right.
Now, in that particular deal of a 100-meter race,
Yeah.
I want to win the gold medal, and I want to win it every time.
Right.
But I'm not going to be mad or upset at you when you win.
Right.
I'm going to be mad and upset at myself because I didn't do the mental and the organizational preparation to go and do the solution showcase, to collect data and to thoughtfully advance. That's on me, not you.
Got it. And so, you brought up the big wigs, right? The Teslas, the Jeff Bezos, the different things like that. But specifically with Walmart and Target, why do you think they're able to scale over a global or, world versus other types of businesses?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with timing, with circumstances. I mean, I'm not a history buff, but, if you look back in the day, land would help you to be rich, you know, and then it was, probably industry of some sort, and then it was oil, and, we keep, information or, now, delivering packages seems to be a pretty good one. So I think a lot of it has to do with timing. A great story about that. So at our local mall here, me and my best buddy in the summer, there was these fish tanks like, I don't know, 20 yards long and 20 yards wide, but they were on the ground. And then they had like, so you couldn't jump in there. They had like little, I'm going to say a wall because you could see through them, but like, kind of a wall.
Yeah.
So me and my boy used to lean up against it and we'd check all the girls going by, right? So these 3 girls walk up, 2 of which we both knew.
Yep.
There's one little girl behind, and we didn't know who she was. So we're talking to the 2 girls a little bit that we know, and we're too cool for school for this other girl over here. And so afterwards, they all 3 walk away. I didn't know her name. I didn't know if she's from the Netherlands. I didn't know anything, not one thing about her. And I looked at my boy at 15 years of age. I said, I'm going to marry her. Now, if that's not timing, or you can call them God winks. I call them God winks as well.
Yeah.
So, if you ask Jesse James, why did he rob banks? Because that's where the money was at.
Right.
So I think there's certain, I think that, certain things that are very successful now were tried in the past. It wasn't the right timing. You're ahead of the curve. You're so far ahead of that wave that you just can't be patient enough,
right?
Because your feet are going to get all wilted up because of the water, or a shark bit you, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that timing is a big part of that. But I also think that the people behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never met any of those guys, but I've met some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met a lot of professional athletes, people that have been on CNN, and they all, share a few things in common. And one of them is that they're go-getters. They have great work ethic.
Yeah.
They have this great mind. Their, no's not even in their vocabulary. We have a thing in our businesses. We get to yes.
Oh,
I'm like, and sometimes that hurts you,
Yeah.
You're trying to get to yes, and it's just a bird walk you shouldn't have taken.
Right.
But more often than not, getting to yes is going to help a whole bunch of people.
Right.
And usually if you're helping a whole bunch of people, you'll in turn help yourself. And if not, I don't care. I did that as a teacher for 20 years. I helped a bunch of kids. I didn't get anything back from them.
Right.
Right? I mean, maybe a smile or a high five or a slap on the butt. But,
Yeah.
you know, basically it was, you know, they gave me enjoyment for helping them.
Yeah.
But that was pretty one-way street. Most
Okay.
teachers or nurses, it's a one-way street.
Yeah. Gotcha. And so for, you know, a starting out entrepreneur,
Yeah.
what is a trick or a best advice to get early on success, right? Because that's what we all want, right? Success in what we're trying to do to, you know, feel good about it and continue forward.
Yeah. So go do it.
Go do it. Just whatever
Go
that
do
is.
it. Yeah. I had a mentor one time. He taught me in the financial services business. He was really great at networking and
Yeah.
referrals and stuff. And his famous line was, "Stumble forward with ignorant enthusiasm." And I thought, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's life,
Yeah.
right? Stumble forward with ignorant enthusiasm,
Yeah.
right? So if when you're a little kid, I mean, let's think about this just from a simple standpoint. The parallels are similar.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're an Amazon or whether you're the kid that's selling lemonade on the corner,
Right.
it's pretty similar,
Yes.
right? So what do you do? You have to have what I call a service or a product or what I call merchandise. A product to me is, I'm not saying this is everybody else's definition,
Yeah.
but a product to me is something that you create internally.
Mm-hmm.
A merchandise is something that you buy and you resell.
Right.
And then a service is obviously a service. Right?
Yeah.
So no matter what, and I call it peddling paraphernalia.
Yeah.
That's the the system,
This
the
word.
two words.
Yeah.
I got issues. P with P. It's problematic. Let me
Yes.
tell you. I do not alphabetize my soups,
That's good.
so I'm not that anal. But I do try to put light colored stuff together with my shirts. I got a little problem.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't have to be anally whack jobbed to be a good entrepreneur. How about that?
How about, yeah.
It may help. It may hurt. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, what was the question again?
The question was best advice or trick or trade.
Oh yeah, for an entrepreneur. So do it.
Yes.
Right. I mean that's the main thing. And then what I always say though is do some mindset around it. Right. Own it. Own it whether it works. Own it whether it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Take the fails as much as you do the successes.
Right.
I think people a lot of times, like on a social media, well, they didn't like me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go run in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe it wasn't any good.
Right.
Maybe it was good and the guy's a donkey.
Right.
Right. Maybe it hasn't got out there yet. Maybe you're premature. Maybe you're the surfer that's way ahead of it, whatever the
Right.
case may be.
Yeah.
But, have a good mindset, take ownership, be thoughtful, right? And then get organized around that, right?
Yeah.
But the main thing is you're going to go do something. And so I would rather stumble forward with ignorant enthusiasm and then collect data as I'm stumbling, both informally and informally, and then figure out how I advance.
Right.
And I'm going to thoughtfully advance with likes and celebrations, dislikes, and I'm going to adjust or pivot.
Right.
And then if I'm undecided, I'm going to ask questions to make it a like or a dislike. Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So if this is what I'm doing as an entrepreneur or a dad or a coach or whatever,
Yeah.
if you have some talent that will go with that system over and over and over again, you're going to be good.
Very good. Well, thank you. We're closing up right here is talking about entrepreneurship and different things like that. Is there anything that I didn't ask you, anything you'd like to cover again or talk about that I didn't bring up?
Well, I'm not sure out there. I always think about the caption
Yeah.
of the audience, and I think, well, there's 100 things that we can talk about with entrepreneurism.
Right.
But, I want to talk about the learning part of it for the audience. So, you're getting some theory here, just some, mindset theory type stuff. And then it'll go in sections all the way over. If you looked at a continuum, it would get real granular over on this side.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get a little granular with, a system that might be helpful for them.
Yeah.
So with mindset. So I have what I call board pictures. Most people call it a visualization board. And so what I do is I have another system that I call the holistic system, which includes spiritual, religion, family, friends, health, physical, personal, social, and career material. And so what I do is I put pictures of things that I want under each of those sections or categories.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at that every day.
Okay.
Right? It's in my room, just like a picture on the wall, and I'll look at that and I'll say, and I usually break it down two ways. What do I want, or what do I have to do?
Okay.
So if what I want to do is spend the rest of my life in eternity with Jesus,
Yeah.
then what are some things that I have to do? Well, I have to build a relationship. That's maybe the schematic part of it. Well, what's the activity? Well, I can read the Bible. I can pray. I can right do all those things.
Yes.
So I think, out there in entrepreneur land, that there's a mindset thing that you can do. Or, The Secret was a big thing out there, where you write down all your goals, and then with an elevated emotion, like you get your pump up music back in the day.
Yeah.
Even if you just did it like with your pump up music, and you're looking, and you've already I'm already there.
Right.
I'm not gonna go there. It's not fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm already gonna go there. So there's a bunch of those types of things out there that you can do at a real granular level for mindset. Well, the same thing with getting organized. Right? So I have what I call my collection spots, which is email, text, social media, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Right? And I got to go look at those every day.
Right.
I can look at my appointment book. I can look at my phone. I can look at, right?
Yes.
But I'm going to get organized around my dailies. Or if it's a new thought, then I got to have new organizational, I got to put it in an outline form. I got to, whatever.
Yes.
But get organized. Here we go. Wait. Drum roll, please. Solution showcase.
Yeah.
The third part of the individual system. Go do it. Just go do it. Right?
Yeah.
So when you first started, what was the slowest 100 meters you ever ran in your life that you can remember?
I believe it was 13:1.
Okay, 13:1. That's blazing.
Yeah.
By the way. So at 13:1, if you never practiced running again, would that have been where you would have been at for the rest of your life?
No. I would have got a little faster because just through maturity.
If you would have never run again?
Yeah. I think from...
How would you know? You would never run again? If you ran one time and never
ran again, yeah, you wouldn't know.
Right. So you'd have to go do it.
Do it, yes.
And then we would know.
Right.
So what if you ran 12:9? You'd be like, yeah, I'm better.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Now, what about if you did a bunch of practicing along the way and then went out and ran? Probably going to run faster.
Yes.
Right. So it's the same thing in entrepreneur land.
Right.
Mindset, get organized, do it.
Yes.
Right? So if you don't do anything, so if you do it one time, you never do it again, you're going to be the same spot. And have you heard that saying about they used to do with the guys making free throws? They broke them into 3 groups.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right? So the first one, they all did their pre-mark.
Right.
80% said whatever. And then these guys did nothing for a week, and they didn't get any better or any worse.
Right.
These people physical practice, and they got 7 or 10% better.
Yeah.
And those people just practiced in their mind.
Right.
And they got, 15% better, whatever.
Right.
That's the mindset. Get organized, solution showcase. Now just collect data. What's important? Well, people go, well, what is important? Well, I don't know. What's important to you?
Yeah.
If money's important, collect data around money. If helping people is important, collect data around that.
Yeah.
If getting stuff, a microphone or whatever is important, then collect data around that.
Yeah.
And then you just thoughtfully advance. And what did I like about what I did? Or what did I like about the result? How will I celebrate? What did I dislike? So on and so forth.
Right.
So hopefully that's a little bit more granular for the entrepreneurs, but over and over and over again, say the same thing. Just you got to go do something. But if you do something within a system, it'll get you there quicker, a lot quicker.
Right. Gotcha.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Careful.